maybe it's gonna get better because we end up dying here. You see, we love to stay in South Africa, but if the South Africans doesn't like us to stay here, then and whilst they don't tell us to go, they just deter some of us. They're being killed.
For some of them, the thought of
they have opted to go home. We have been assisting them since Wednesday last week. Unfortunately, we had to prepare the papers. That's why they could not leave earlier. We issued them with certificates of repatriation. We worked with the Department of Home Affairs, which issued them with exit permits.
I'm desperate to get the paper because, like for me, I want to go. I want to go because I feel like I'm not doing anything here. So, and my people, they told me to come home.
96 Zimbabwean nationals left in 2 buses for Beitbridge. Julian Pillay, SABC News, Johannesburg.
Not happy with the behavior of the South Africans. Each and every time they want to walk up and start killing people. Enough is enough. Nigerians, Malawans are all Zambian, we're all Africans. We are not going to tolerate this nonsense. Enough is enough.
The repercussions of anti-foreigner violence in South Africa has been huge.
Sorry, I feel anger, that anger. That's the hatred. Because what happened yesterday is the 5th xenophobic attack in South Africa, because that was done by the government. Because that is inhumanity that I saw with my eyes yesterday. If a policeman can separate a mother and a child, there is no future for my children in this country. I want to go out.
So where do you want to go then with the family?
Anywhere, as long as we are out of this country. A place that where we're going to be safe, where we're going to feel that we've been recognized as human beings, not like cockroaches or not like chicken, because we are not chicken to be slaughtered every day.
Would you consider going back to Burundi?
Fine, thank you. There's no better place than home. And then it's because I was forced to leave my country. I did not choose to come to South Africa. I did not wake up one day and say, let me plan to go for holiday to South Africa. I was forced to leave my country. And then the UNHCR and this country knows that.
We're tired of being beaten every day. We're all Africa. Why must we be afraid to go to South Africa? Which South Africa has ever been beaten to Zambia? Which one? We want the ambassador to address us. We are tired. Enough.
No foreigner has ever developed a country. The nationals develop their own countries. The future for Africa is bright. The future for Africa is in the hands of Africans. Because for me, and I hope for every one of you, the future is Africa.
We've got 27 million foreign nationals who are here in this country. That is a country within a country. You see, if you open all the gates, allow them to come here, who is going to suffer more? It's us. South Africa. These guys, they can easily survive in South Africa.
All of us, we are very angry. That's why we are out today to protest that this should not be continued again. We have South African citizens inside this country. We leave them, we did not go. Their investments are so much here. They are here. We did not hurt them. Why must they hurt our people?
Heavy police patrols in Johannesburg and the southern city of Durban. Violence has escalated in the past couple of days. So far, 6 people have been killed in the violence, mainly targeted at Somalis, Ethiopians, Congolese, Nigerians, Zimbabweans, Malawians and other immigrants. South Africa's ruling party, the African National Congress, has strongly condemned the violence. In a strongly worded statement, the ANC said, and I quote, "Over the last couple of weeks, our nation has been engulfed in a shameful wave of attacks by some amongst us against our country's immigration population. Regardless of the cause of these barbaric deeds, the African National Congress regards them as criminal acts against vulnerable and defenseless people who have sought refuge, solace and economic prosperity in our country." President Jacob Zuma is in the meantime expected to address Parliament on the xenophobic
Bana gidinle gidem zambi. Nozuyo kuri lo kota South Africa. Mapolisa wa so wa maginchumu Kana mkomba bo part 2 takubata ba umekwini. Part 2 ubona ke. Oba naba idegedi ngena kwala bo bafota wafamba.
Foreigners, African foreigners, are the worst thing to ever happen to South Africa. These guys, they've destroyed this beautiful country. All African foreigners, Nabuma Pakistani, India, and other European countries who came here with bad intentions. But African foreigners, they bring no value. Abo Zimbabwe, Congo, Mozambique, crime and taking advantage of our country. And I'm definitely sure that if we were created by God, man was made out of clay somewhere in the garden. The devil must have looked and copied, took the IP and thought it was going to be a good idea to reproduce himself, if the devil is a he, reproduce himself in the form of Nigerians. Because there is no way a people bangancola so very evil Nigerian. There is no way. I can hear about woke Pan-Africanists, you are all Africans. Nigerians, it doesn't exist, this thing about you are all Africans, Pan-Africanism, we are all working, for the good, of all Africans. No. They even sell their own sisters for France, for prostitution. Check out documentaries. I was sent here by my family to work as a prostitute. They sell their own sisters. And I don't know what is it that South African women see in these guys, because they're not even cute. But Shangamakanda flat a mover. Yes, there are exceptions. But ngoba ye ko Congolese. That's why thina majida sekas. Once umntwana washawa ilezi. Hayi baba game over. Once washawa ilezi. Hayi mfethu I mean abafethu hayi. Yabona mangathi ngiyadrawa umuntu bese bayangitshela ukuthi bekashawa eCongolese, Tanzania, Mozambique, Zimbabwe, especially lezi amashona. Nigeria, Gabon. There was one lady, 2002, I was a lead in one production. It was a Nigerian drink, Golden Spark for Nigeria. I did lots of Pan-Africa for my cell phone, did lots of work for Argentina, India. And there was this beautiful African woman, curvaceous, beautiful. She fancied me. But once she said, my ex is from Cameroon, I lost it. I bloody lost it. No matter how beautiful you are, once you can tell me, your ex is from Congo, Tanzania, I no longer rate you. Once you can tell me, it's better for me not to know. But once you can tell me with my ex, my country, yabana lawa esihlobane nawo. Bashanga amalanguage wethu, Swaziland, Lesotho, Botswana, lapho simnandi, because we are family. Swaziland, Lesotho, and Botswana. And thanks God, neighbors, Botswana, they are so peaceful. They don't give us, nonsense. Unlike the Zimbabweans, guys who never helped us during apartheid. They're here. They've got a big mouth. And Satan must have thought the idea of creating Nigerians and deputize them and said, Zimbabweans, Mashona, are going to be their deputies. Because, banomlomo. And in their own countries, in fact, amabraki bathulile. We are all Africans. There is no foreigner in Africa, but in their own countries, they will chuck you out. In fact, African nonsense this, and I hear some South Africans Africa free trade. You don't have a business, dog. It ain't gonna benefit you. This Africa free trade. It benefits them because it is us who plant our companies that side. Abo Mutsipe, Abo Ramaphosa. We are doing about trade. Nabo Germany. We did trade nabo Taiwan. Back in the days, did you see the Taiwanese here? We're doing trade. Nabo England. Nabo Scotland. They used to bring about tax of London. We exchange, goods and services. Not we gave value, they gave us value, and they came with their companies here. About Zimbabwe, what company they bringing here? Cigarette smuggling, petrol, yomshakani. Bafethu. I'm sure somewhere, uNkulunkulu makenza umuntu wacabanga ama-Nigerian wathi in order to rival God, I'm going to place Nigerians on earth so that they can fight mankind. Because these guys are evil. You check nama pastors wakhona, body mutilations. They've been fighting from day one. Who's about we help you during apartheid? When, dog? Because you're fighting your Biafra wars from civil war. Go Burkina Faso, go Somalia. They've been fighting these guys. The only thing is to vote in the United Nations. That's it. And we've done more for them. Shown them how to build institutions, bankings, go Mozambique. I'm sure somewhere God, Satan wins Nigerians. And most of these guys, they're from the villages. Abayazi no toilet paper, basula ngamatshe mangabe bayasula at all. And then South African influencers, they will tell you, these guys are bangcwele so. And South African influencers and ladies, they lift the standard so high when it comes to South African men. And they're dating guys who are hobos in their own countries. In their own countries. Babashiye, nabantwana abaningi. Check all these South African personalities. Check umntana ofana no Mahene. Uba nomntana lo kaBlondi. Mfethu, guys Zimbabwean, abantwana abayi 4, 5, 4, 10, I don't know which yini number. Abo Penny Liban, I think no Penny. Let me use allegedly. Allegedly. Most of them, bashawa yizo lepa. Abo Pel, Bobonang, Bobabalwa, yo. And maba nga data out esikasi. Yes. Bazoyitshela lokhu nalokhu ya. Hayi but bafethu. Nigerians, ayivile ama Nigerians mina ngiboni bafethu 200 million population yabo, if not more. More than half living beyond poverty line. They are all over the world, proliferating, messing up. Zingcono lezi zaseGhana. My foreigners here in South Africa, they are replacing us in record time. They are mixing up our DNA. You won't have abantu abafana nabo IXO abahle in the near future. Thula uthi shanga khalele ngaka mfethu. Ucheri inxusi yakhona ayinafika ayinakhev. Njengalabo baseZimbabwe bomashona. Mntana khona noma nepotris it's either is too low or it's too high. Namakhev maka namakhev akanayibuni makanayibuni akanamakev noma tune breast basinyane encane ngathi twithu. Ebuswena ngisakhulumi mfethu. I've never seen a beautiful pure 100% Shona woman unless she's mixed with other tribes or nationalities. Pure. South African mfethu is the crown because la we are not one dimensional. We are mixed. Even one tribe can be so mixed. Thola umZulu wase KZN akafana nomZulu wase Jozi. Umtswana wase Northwest akafana nalazo. We are mixed. Nama Indians are like us. A mix. Kalata mix. Ingamla zanga yikasi sinama calves. Shange bottle of Coca-Cola. They're not the same. Unlike in other countries, Mauritania, Bafana, Morocco, Bafana. If you see one beauty, they all look like that. Ethiopia got more beautiful people in huge numbers, but they all look the same. Go Rwanda. Umuntu wase Rwanda. They've got similar features, unlike here. They're coming here. I mean, Zimbabwe bafethu Zimbabwe ngengishining house mfethu. Chama shona. Mntana ngathi uCaster Semenya. Hayi mfethu never. Mntana ngathi uCaster Semenya. Wena ungamshaya uphosha mudisi. Futhi uphosha mudisi emuhle. Uphosha mudisi emuhle. Caster Semenya baba. I never bafethu. Yeah, I think uphosha ngamoil amangabe ku blind yabo ukuthi bengifahlakile khona ngiphuma. Yabo. Yeah, yena vele unebody. hayi casta ngeke mfethu inkawuza ngeke ivuke hayi bafethu mara ama-Nigerians worldwide nonsense abantu nonsense emarabini abafethu uzophatha akawafuni ama-Nigerians but ufana nawo akhona ama-Nigerians aso bafethu hayi noma bathi ignorant ama-Nigerians aso amahle so.
We cannot allow the crisis of illegal migration to undermine our sovereignty and security. Illegal migration is not just an issue. It possesses security threat and a severe burden on our fiscus. Let us take them back to their respective countries. Put South Africans first is our core commitment.
No job, no nothing. So I try to prepare to come back.
At the end of the day, these people will be viewed as xenophobic, but French people, they are not xenophobic. Remember, many South Africans in this country are suffering. You know, there is a racist strategy that is being applied by employees.
Let's do a quick update on the South African refugees and the USA program. So there has been an article in the Washington Post that highlighted that there will be a cap on refugees. So they're looking at about 7,500, which is very low, considering that there are thousands of people that have gone already through an entire process to become refugees in the USA, but it seems like it's not going to get any further because of the Trump administration's new program when it comes to refugee status, and also they want to focus on 7,500, they say, people that will assimilate better in the USA and understand the culture in Trump's USA, so we know what that means. So this is rather problematic for people from war-torn countries that have gone through the process, gone through the security checks, and now their process has been stopped. Okay, so there is an outcry around that. However, in South Africa, and that's what I wanted to speak about, there is a group of white Afrikaans speakers that have said not in our name. They have written an open letter, bravely signed it, and said that this is not okay, it's actually racist to do what Trump is doing, because they do not feel that white Afrikaans people are the ones being persecuted and that they should be prioritized above people from war-torn countries. There is obviously going to be backlash around this, and there will be a response from Flip Base, from the Solidarity Movement, tomorrow in the report. There will also be some TV interview, I think on Monday, and I'll see if I can get a bit of a recording there. But it's important to highlight that not all white Afrikaans people think exactly the same. Okay, there is a certain group that feel that they are being persecuted and that feel that Trump's offer is an opportunity for them. But there is another group that feel that this is not the way to go. Here is the open letter. So the letter was first published in Netwerk 24 in Afrikaans, and it has now been published in News 24, and it is around prominent Afrikaans people responding to the misuse of their story in US politics. It starts off with saying, as South Africans and Afrikaners, we write this response with concern and conviction. The Trump administration planned to prioritize white South Africans for refugee status while drastically cutting overall refugee admissions have brought our identity into the spotlight in ways that are deeply troubling. We reject the narrative that casts Afrikaners as victims of racial persecution in post-apartheid South Africa. This framing, now being used to support the far right, great replacement theory in the United States is not only misleading but also dangerous. It distorts the realities of South Africa, weaponizes our history, and reduces a complex social context and necessary leveling of the playing field into a simplistic symbol of white decline. Let us be clear, South Africa faces serious challenges, crime, inequality, and the enduring legacy of apartheid. But these issues affect South Africans of all races. To cherry-pick white suffering and elevate it above others is dishonest and harmful. It feeds extremist ideologies that perpetuate division and have inspired real-world violence, including mass shootings. And they are talking here about the Great Replacement theory. We are not pawns in America's culture wars. We are South Africans, part of a diverse, evolving nation still grappling with its past and striving toward a more just future. Our identity is not monolithic, nor is it defined by animosity between historical groupings. Afrikaners have done harm in the past, and we acknowledge that. As citizens of post-apartheid South Africa, we have dedicated ourselves to building our country. Singling us out as victims of multiracialism alienates us from our fellow South Africans and harms relationships that have been fostered over the past 30 years. What concerns us most is the hijacking of our ethnic identity by fringe groups both in South Africa and abroad. Projects like Make Afrikaners Great Again do not represent us. They misrepresent our history and misappropriate our culture to promote exclusionary and racialized ideological agendas. We refuse to let organizations such as AfriForum and the Solidarity Movement speak for us. No single organization has a clear or legitimate mandate to speak on behalf of all Afrikaners. Afrikaners like us who trace our South African roots to the 17th and 18th centuries choose to call ourselves members of an inclusive and diverse Afrikaans-speaking community. We share a language, and our cultural traditions and religious roots are the same, but our community holds a diversity of views. This diversity is entrenched in our folklore, and it is our strength, not our weakness. South Africa's diversity enriches us. The idea that white South Africans deserve special asylum status because of their race undermines the very principle of refugee protection. Vulnerability, not race, should guide humanitarian policy. To elevate white suffering above others is to reinforce a racialized worldview that elevates whiteness above others and sees white identity as under existential threat. This is not a reflection of our values or our lived experience. Calling crime in South Africa white genocide at a moment when Gaza and Sudan are showing in real time what that actually means is crass and narcissistic. This response is signed by Afrikaners who believe in truth, justice, and the importance of resisting the misuse of history. We urge our fellow South Africans and international observers to challenge these distorted narratives and to recognize the dignity of all people, not just those who fit a political agenda. Very straightforward, to the point, and I think very brave, because as I say, I know there is going to be backlash, and I will update you on the response to that because, like I said, Flip Base from the Solidarity Movement will be responding to that in the report tomorrow.
Welcome back to Gist9. So there's serious movements happening in South Africa now because more and more foreign nationals are packing up and leaving the country. And this is all connected to the renewed push for Operation Dudula, which is a movement that's been making headlines for some time now against illegal foreign nationals. So South Africans are saying it loud, and they are very clear on this. They're saying that illegal foreigners must go, and they argue that too many undocumented migrants have taken over their jobs, business spaces, and even communities that should be benefiting their locals. And in all honesty, you can't really blame the citizens for saying this. because the rate of unemployment is high there. Crime is rising, and many South Africans feel like they've become strangers in their own country. In recent weeks, we all saw how there's been a crackdown in places like Johannesburg, Pretoria and Durban, which was targeting illegal traders, undocumented workers, and even people staying in hijacked buildings. So the local authorities and community groups, they are working together to restore order and make sure that the law actually means something to these people. And now we all see people that are supporting South Africans, and when you see people supporting those people, it doesn't mean they're hating other African countries, because South Africa, just like every other country, I feel that they have the right to protect their borders and also make sure that only those that are documented and following the laws stay. So if you're not documented, what are you doing there? So that's not discrimination, that's governance, because every nation has to put its citizens first. At the same time, I just feel that Africa is one family, no matter what we're doing. That's the spirit of Ubuntu. So we can support South Africans taking control of their own space while still pushing for African unity and cooperation, because unity doesn't mean lawlessness for me. And if every African country becomes stable, fair and prosperous, there wouldn't be so many people migrating illegally in the first place. Each country must fix its own house before blaming the neighbor. So, yes, South Africans have every right to demand order and to prioritize their people. But I'm just of the notion that we should all stand together, respect each other's laws, and work towards a continent where nobody has to run away from home to survive. So what do you think about this? Well, I'll be playing some clips for you to listen and watch again. Then let me know what you think in the comment section. And if today is your first time joining my channel, please don't forget to like, share and subscribe.
My husband is not from here, he's coming from Burundi. I stay with him almost 4 years. We have one child, is 1 year and a half.
Priska Makondo is too young to understand the commotion around her. Xenophobic attacks in Durban have divided her Xhosa mother and her Burundian father.
So if they are killing him, there's nothing I can do. Even me too, I'm gonna die. No one is gonna take care of my child. Like my mother. My mother is not working, is staying home. Me too, I'm not working. I'm staying home. Only the person who helping me is my husband. I'm carrying a hard child. After 4 months, it's gonna come.
They stand together.